From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
One more corner pocket.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hutchavandi.
And Corey Clark.
Wake up! What's up? It is Wake Up Warchant. It is presented by the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, Tallahassee, Florida, cptallybar.com. That is the website. You can place your order online. You can check out their daily lunch specials and also what is goings on. But why make the people go to a website, Corey, when we can just tell them about it? Live music on Fridays at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. You like the live music usually cranking at the Corner Pocket, don't you?
I do. It's not every weekend, but yeah, when they have it, it's usually, it's my kind of jam. Typically, it's a lot of like 80s, 90s cover band type bands, and I can get on board with that.
Very nice, very nice. Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, cptallybar.com. Also hit up the QR code on your screen. Get right to the site. You can place your order online. Lunch specials every single day of the weekday, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. All right, as we record this, we jumped the gun a little bit. We won't be having a wrap-up of the North Carolina-Florida State baseball game on Thursday night. Check that out, though. We'll wrap up the whole weekend on Monday's program. So if you're here for hot takes on Thursday's baseball game, sorry to let you down. But plenty of hot takes over on the Tribal Council of Warchant.com, where the Renegade Express thread lives. We'll get to all that, but what a crazy little Wednesday night, Thursday morning we had, Corey Clark, in the world of the SEC. This is why it means more. This is why,
absolutely.
Maybe we wish we were in this just so we could watch and savor it just a little bit more. Feel like, I don't know. There's probably no other fan base besides Florida State that enjoyed the whole tit for tat between Nick Saban and Jimbo Fisher more than Florida State. So the timeline of events, everybody, the chronology, which you probably all know well by now, but Wednesday night, Nick Saban, I think somewhere in Alabama, Birmingham possibly, celebrating the World Games, which are going to be held in Alabama. Shout out, Yellowhammer State. Talks about recruiting, NIL, mentions the fact that Alabama, did not pay for one single recruit. Meanwhile, the team that finished first in the recruiting, Texas A&M, which you've all read about, as he said, they paid for every single player on their team. Fast forward to Thursday morning, and a disheveled Jimbo Fisher, like, Jimbo, you can't do that, man. Come on. I mean, who loves you around you? That there's no one that loves him, Corey? That was like, no, Jimbo, we're not doing this. Has a hasty press conference and proceeds to just absolutely dismantle and bomb and deplete every sort of aspect of his long-standing personal relationship with Nick Saban, calling him a narcissist, scoffing at him being someone that walks on water, somebody that's been called the czar of college football. He's the greatest, huh? Well, it's easy when you have all the advantages. Just absolutely goes after him for having the gall, being despicable, and accusing these 17-year-old kids in Texas A&M of doing things the wrong way, because they don't do things the wrong way at Texas A&M. You wrote a really lengthy column on it. We'll let you rip and run here. It was a nonsensical, hypocritical press conference. It was bizarre. He should have just released some sort of strongly worded statement and taken the high road. I think it would have given him some good leverage and maybe some goodwill in the world of college football. But, man, he dragged it down to the bottom, and here we are. But we can savor it. We're Florida State fans. We can laugh at their misfortune.
Well, it's great, and it's the SEC's misfortune, which we're all about that, man. I want Sankey to have a bad day at the office because he hadn't had many of them. So it's cool that he's two of his most high profile and one of his most other high profile coaches are attacking each other like this. And I'll be honest with you, man. I've never seen anything quite like what Jimbo did on Thursday. Like, it wasn't just I'm going to defend my program, the honor of my program, which we'll get to in a second, but the absolute attack on Nick Saban. Said he should have been slapped as a kid. Maybe he should have been slapped as a kid. I don't want to get the quote wrong. If you ask people that worked with him, go dig into his deal that he got there. He's despicable. Ask anybody that's worked with him. Just on and on. Basically said he's not that good a coach, like you alluded to. Like, greatest of all time, huh? Yeah, it's easy to win when you have all the advantages. It's like, man, Jimbo, maybe you're not the guy to talk about how easy it is to maintain greatness because you didn't do it. That guy did, and it's not like you didn't have any advantages at Florida State 7 years ago. So The whole thing was just bizarre. Like, why are you so defensive, Jimbo? Because I know there are rules in place where it's like you can't entice kids to come. You can't induce kids to come to your school with a pay-for-play situation. But we're also all realists, man. We know it happens. We know it happens in every school. That's the way of the world in 2022. So they pay a lot of money, and these kids will have deals for them when they start playing football. They might already, I'm sure the deals were set up. I assume they've been signed. Well, they'll be signed when they get on campus. Blah, blah, blah. Whatever semantics you have to, whatever hoops, gymnastics, semantics you have to jump through to make it sound like we're not paying these kids to play football at Texas A&M. We all know you are. And nobody thinks you're breaking the rule because there's no real rule to break. So why is he so defensive, Aslan?
It's a personal attack. Maybe it's that whole fact that everybody is cheating. So since we're cheating better than all of you now, like you're gonna throw rocks at me, and like how can you really say that? Like I'm cheating better than you. You can't come out and say that. So you have to have this whole sort of false pretense of you're attacking 17-year-old kids. This is despicable. I'm not going to stand for it. The people at A&M are franchise.
That's what's so crazy is that nobody is attacking any. Again, how many of these kids are 17, Aslan? I want you to do a deep dive on that because he must have said 17-year-olds 9 times. Right. I want to know how many kids right now that are in this 2022 recruiting class are 17 years old. Yeah. I know he uses that age in particular because they're not adults, but, man, you're talking about 2 maybe. There aren't many kids that are 17 when they graduate high school. I was one of them. Sadly, my kid will be one of them. But there aren't many of us. Yeah. So anyway, so that's funny. I just think it's funny. He kept like you're attacking the children. Yeah. These are kids. These are children. It's like, all right, man. I guarantee you're going to scream at them for the next 4 years of their lives. Then you're not going to treat them like children because they're not anymore. But anyway, that's fine. But nobody was attacking. Does anybody blame those kids for going where the money is? Like what do you think the attack is there? What does Jimbo? I really want to like the psychology of what Jimbo Fisher thinks is how his recruits are being attacked because they didn't go to College Station solely because of the great school and coaching they're going to get. Like, what's the attack?
I think he doesn't like to be called a cheat or a liar.
No, not him. He keeps saying don't attack these 17-year-olds.
Well, that's how he's got to defend it. He doesn't care about them. This is him and Nick.
But what does he view the attack being on those 17-year-olds? They don't have any integrity because they chase the money?
He's being a sociopath. He's using them. He's projecting his debate and argument with Nick Saban onto these kids and like hiding behind them as a shield. Like, oh, you're attacking them, so this is why I'm going to go at you. It's like, no, you're coming at me. When you say that A&M signed everybody, you're saying Jimbo Fisher practically. So I can't come out and just point that out and say, oh, this is me versus Nick. I have to try to take some sort of moral high ground, like the poor children and their families, and try to create this whole sort of alternative narrative, if you will.
It's just crazy because that is not the narrative. That is not reality.
Right.
Nobody, not one single person I know of blamed a Texas A&M recruit for signing with Texas A&M, knowing that there's money out there in some form or fashion waiting for them. It's just reality, folks. Like, I'm not saying it because I have any inside knowledge. I just know how recruiting works in 2022. They were being offered money by other schools because they were allowed to. So of course Texas A&M paid them, because that's how recruiting worked in 2022. That's how apparently it will work in the immediate future. It does come down to collectives and paying to play, even though you're not supposed to. That's what it has become. So nobody's judging those kids. Not one person is judging those kids. And more than anything, everybody just kind of laughed it off. Like, yeah, well, A&M's got a lot of money, and they've never won anything, so this makes sense. They're trying to go buy themselves a championship. Well, in the current rules, there's nothing wrong with that. And then Jimbo takes as just a slap in the face, which was just such an odd – his reaction was so over the top of what the offense was.
It was not commensurate. It was not commensurate with what was said by Nick.
And he's right about, like, you know, Saban feels like he's not – anytime Saban feels like somebody has an advantage over him, he complains about it publicly. I mean, I get all that. And I'm sure he's a narcissist, unlike Jimbo, right? I mean, they're almost all these head coaches are complete egomaniacs. That's not surprising. It's just for him to attack the guy, say that he's not that good a coach, which is legitimately what he said.
Yes.
The greatest of all time, right? Sure, it's easy to win when you have all the advantages. All right, he just dismissed the last 15 years at Alabama. Now, I'm sure anybody's buying that, but in his mind, that's what he's saying. Yeah, this guy's not all that great. He's not all he's cracked up to be. And I talked about on Cameron's show, and I wrote about it too, but especially talked about it on Cameron's show. It's just ironic coming from the guy that has worshipped at the Satan altar. He's bowed down to the Saban. Sorry,
Easy.
Slip of the tongue, everyone. At the Saban altar for the last 15 years, and when the quote, the cherry on the sundae was the quote about Bowden.
Oh yeah, that was
the one about, I learned from Bobby Bowden what to do, and I learned from Nick Saban what not to do. And it's like, yeah, sure, man. As soon as Bowden was out the door, you Sabanized the program immediately. You fired all Bowden's coaches. Freshmen couldn't talk. Assistant coaches couldn't talk. Spring game became the most important thing in the world. You went to the administration over and over and over again to try to get what you want, to upgrade facilities. It was everything Saban had done to a T. And it worked. I mean, you had some real immediate success at Florida State. And then you go back, and he never brought up Bobby Bowden when he talked about things he had learned. I mean, occasionally, especially when he was at Florida State, occasionally. But every time he talked about running a program, it went back to Nick Saban. And, trust the process and everything he had learned under Saban. And then for him to just wash that all away and say that basically he learned he learned what not to do from Saban, and he learned what to do from Bobby Bowden. It's okay. Well, I don't remember you running your program at all like Bobby Bowden.
Again, it goes back to him trying to make this about the kids. Like, oh, you're attacking the kids. And so you bring up children, their welfare, their families, so that looks good. You bring up the name Bobby Bowden, that's obviously going to make you look good. So it's him being like politically expedient and trying to pick out these peripheral sort of issues to something to hide behind. Again, man, I really think if they would have released like a strongly worded statement just about we were well aware of the comments made last night by a fellow head coach in the SEC. We were very disappointed by these comments, but even more so, steadfast that we have not done anything wrong, and we look forward to a great season in Kyle Field with our fans and replicating the success that we had. Something like that, I really think would have given him like a high road and would put this under the rug. Now this is going to be openly hostile for a while, and I don't know exactly. And at the minimum, this is like a really cruddy 36-hour news cycle for them. Maybe it does go way quicker than that, but just like why would you welcome this into your life? Like Jimbo chose violence, as the kids would say, and it didn't win anything. I mean, I don't think he lost per se. We're in a Florida State echo chamber, and everybody's like gleefully watching this and poking fun at Jimbo. I don't know how the nation's handling it. I think the nation's like a little bit is kind of like rooting for him in a little bit way to peg down Saban a bit. But I mean, I don't know, man. Being pretty neutral, I think. I mean, I love the dude. I love what he did for here, and I'm not like totally gung ho. Like everything in my life has to be about Florida State. I can understand other perspectives. I just don't understand like Jimbo Fisher does not come out of this looking like a winner. It's really bizarre.
No, that was the whole thing. There was nothing really to gain there, especially the way he went about it. We're like attacking the guy's coaching acumen, and basically kind of dismissing what Saban did for him in his career. It was just goofy. It just didn't need to be done, and it's fine, man. It's his prerogative to go do it, and I'm sure his fans ate it up.
Oh yeah, we would have eaten it up. We would have eaten up if you would have substituted A&M for Oregon and asked people in Eugene. Yeah, he gave red meat to his people, man. He's hunkered himself down. They love him.
And look, now, and that's a fan base that is very, very excited about that recruiting class. They're not very excited about 8-4 every year. So I think it was strategic in that way too. He's not coming off a championship, so he's not like he's not beloved there. I can't imagine, because he hasn't given them a reason to love him. They've been a lot of kind of better than average, barely kind of Kevin Sumlin type seasons. And so, but this will ingratiate him, I'm sure, with those people that are used to being taught down to and considered the stepchildren, and always had that complex when it comes to Texas, and now has that complex with Alabama. They love it. They're all about it. But it was just such a weird tone, and it was so attacking. But hey, man, it's awesome, man. It's awesome. I don't know. And I wrote this in the column. I don't know that I've ever seen another coach attack a coach like that. And I remember John Chaney going after Calipari in a press conference. That wasn't as bad as this.
God bless his soul.
Because and he's talking about how basically what Saban's done in his past. Go look up his past. Go talk to the people that worked for him. Do some digging. Like he's insinuating he's a cheater. He's insinuating he's a liar while both saying he's neither, which, okay. And then basically insinuating he's not a good coach. And he's despicable. And we're done. Our relationship is done. All that. It's beautiful. It's awesome. I hope it carries on forever. I hope Sankey has to suspend one or both of them. It's just, or better for all of us, maybe when this becomes a real rule with real teeth, SEC coaches will actually start turning each other in. And schools will go on probation. And there you go. Maybe their product doesn't become as valuable. Loses a little value. And that was the thing is Jimbo's like, go do some digging. Go see how we got that deal. And I wanted to be like, well, if I was in the room, I genuinely think I would have said, well, what do you mean by that? Yeah. You're asking us to do digging. You worked for them. So what are you talking about? Like, there's obviously no honor among thieves anymore. You just blew the guy's spot up and said that he's been cheating. So what did he do? Let's hear it, Jimbo. Let it rip. He ripped on you. Let it rip. But, that's where the fine line is drawn, where I'm not going to go into the details. I'm just going to insinuate. Because that's what coaches do. Yeah. Well, awesome though. Yeah. Great day for great moment for college football on a Thursday in May.
And the thing is, the one maybe good thing that came out of Jimbo's press conference, I thought, was him, vaguely asking for federal government, intervention into college sports right now. And Nick Saban said as much on Wednesday night I like Nick's whole 7-minute kind of soundbite that was from that night in Alabama on Wednesday night, where he every Florida State fan is going to put him on their Christmas list. He goes after Jimbo Fisher, goes after Travis Hunter and Deion Sanders, and goes after Miami, all in one fell swoop. Right. So he's checked off all the boxes for you. But I liked that Saban came out said, listen, man, we had 25 kids, they made $3 million total. And then he also talked about, that Alabama's generated like nearly $2 billion in NFL contracts in the last 10 years. So that was a nice sort of sales pitch. But I was like, all right, cool. Now we're maybe going to set up the market. And he also mentioned that, they're going to need federal help. They're going to need, litigation law to go in place to help fix all this sort of stuff. So I was like, all right, this is cool. This is going to maybe start the conversation to put pressure on important people to help get this thing fixed. And then Jimbo took that on Thursday, and now it's no longer really a story because at some point there was some sort of crux to Saban's speech, right? Corey, like he does want to figure out a way to handle this. Now, it's not the most noble reason. It's because he just got beat by A&M on the field, and he got beat by them in February, and he's maybe a little bit concerned about that. So this isn't because he's some sort of noble person with the integrity of college football at the crux of everything he's doing. But when an important guy like that is pointing out that the current status quo is going to be an issue, I just felt this would have been kind of a good entry point to start getting some stuff rolling. But I don't know. That's now totally been buried by Jimbo's diatribe, for, I guess, lack of a better word.
Yeah, and again, it wasn't. It would have been more meaningful and impactful, in my opinion, if he had talked about the issue with NIL, and this is the reality. But he didn't. He made it all about Saban.
Yeah,
literally all about Saban. Not really what about Saban said. Just all about Saban. He kept saying we followed the rules. We didn't pay anyone. Well, those aren't mutually exclusive. You did pay people. And again, we know this.
Well, he did say he wants universal rules, but that was
right.
One answer amidst 10 minutes of it. Yeah,
nobody's writing about that, are they?
No.
We're talking about that. They're talking about him calling Saban despicable.
Yeah.
Over and over and over
Present
again.
company included.
Yeah, and then all these 17-year-olds he recruited. I don't know how these kids are going to play college football. He's got so many 17-year-olds. But yeah, I just. That would have been a better message than just an all-out assault. It was like, man, you are protesting way too much, bud. Mm-hmm. Nobody was blaming you for this. Just like nobody blamed Jimbo for going day in it, not many anyway, for taking $75 million. Now, he can say he didn't go there for the money. We all know he did, and there's nothing wrong with that. Just like most of us take jobs for money. That's how life works. And these 17, 18, 19-year-old kids they'll go to the place that promises them the most money, because that's how life works. It's how humanity works. So nobody was judging anybody, and nobody was really judging A&M. It was just like, isn't that funny? They have one of the best classes ever the first year of NIL. I'm sure that's a coincidence, but let's move on with our lives. Saban is lamenting the fact that, and maybe they didn't buy the entire class, right? Maybe they just bought the top 12 or top 15, and Jimbo took umbrage with that. So it was a half truth that he could pounce on. We didn't pay for this whole class or whatever, but it's like, man, we know these kids are getting money, and just like the nonsense with Travis Hunter and Dion. Come on, man. We know that there was something set up for Travis Hunter here that was lucrative. He is not going to turn unless we're just supposed to turn our brains off. He is not going to turn down a lucrative endorsement opportunity at the place he's been committed to for 2 years to then go to a lesser school in a lesser division in no money. Come on. Let's just think it's okay. We don't have to pretend that we're in the 1960s or 70s and college football is deemed to be so innocent. It's not, man. We know the deal. Why are we doing this? And so, yeah, Travis Hunter tweets like, if I had $1 million, why is my mom still in a 3-bedroom house with 5 kids or whatever he tweeted? And it's like, okay, Travis, maybe it was $890,000. Maybe it was $950,000. Maybe that's the thing you're picking on, not the fact that you got paid, because we all know you did, and it's fine. You deserved it, man. You're the number 1 player in the country. That's great. I hope you spend it well, but you got paid. These kids at A&M are going to get money, because what happens if they don't get money, Aslan? You think they might be in the portal next year? Yeah. You think A&M's going to let that happen? Hell no. Let's use our brains, everyone. Jimbo, use your brain. Oh, and then he just attacked Saban, which was, again, just awesome. It was one of the best moments. It was my favorite SEC moment of the year besides Georgia beating Alabama.
Oh, man. And again, as we record this, I don't know. I don't think Dion has responded in kind yet. He did say Wednesday night after the Saban thing came to light. Like, I will address this tomorrow, which is Thursday, as we record this. But we have not heard from Prime, so we'll see.
Maybe maybe he watched Jimbo's tirade and was like, you know what? Maybe I'm going to back off a little bit. Don't think I want to be doing that.
All right, it's Renegade Express. It's Friday. Thanks for being here all week for us, everybody. Let's jump into it. Let's go to our guy Mark in Naples. But wake up, headed to Vegas in the morning with Lauren. That would be Ms. Adamczyk. I told her that when she broke 90 on the golf course, we would go. So we're doing it. Shout out to her. So I should know this because I play golf more than you, I think, Corey. So by breaking 90, does that mean that she shot 89 or she shot 99?
No, breaking 90 is you shot 89 or better. Yeah.
Okay. She still wants to start a support group for us guys who dedicate good portions of our day to talking all things Florida State, Wives of Warchant, or something of that ilk. We'll be in New Orleans. I'm sure she'll bring it up. All right. Yeah, maybe like a spa day. I can go film all the ladies like on a spa day and commiserating about their men, you know.
Ooh, there you go, Aslan. That's not a bad idea. In fact, I think Stephanie Michelle have a spa or trying to plan a spa day.
There we go.
So get a couple other ones in there and you got yourself a segment, buddy.
Great minds. All right, so when I'm in Las Vegas, should I take the over on Florida State at 7.5 wins? I think that's a current line. I want to throw caution to the wind and take the over. We get through the stretch after Boston College and we're at 3-1, let's assume. October, pretty tough. I'm taking the over unless you talk me out of it. Any other bets you would make? Go Noles. Appreciate you guys. No, I'm not going to tell you not to do it because I know how optimistic and hopeful you are, Mark, and why not? It's not an absurd bet. Taking the over on 9.5, I wouldn't let you do it. Actually, I probably still would let you do it, but 7.5, all right, sure. I mean, I might even do it. I just really haven't sat down and really given much serious thought to it, but I can see this team. You know, I think all of us at some point or another, I really should say at some point or another, like we all firmly believe 8 wins is not only like an achievable benchmark, but something that they've got to figure out. They got to get to that number. I know it's not because the number 8 is special, but you start adding things up and you look at the teams on the schedule. You're like, all right, well, if they get 8, they're going to beat this team probably and that team, and he needs positive momentum to recruit off of. So, yeah, take the over, Corey. I say take it, Mark. Enjoy.
I mean, I'm not great at gambling. I'm not great at doling out advice, and I'm a cynic at heart. So, again, I would say if you're going to bet a lot of money, and I don't know what you're putting down there, but if you're putting a substantial amount of money, I'd bet the under because then at least you're emotional hedging yourself, and if they lose more games than you want them to, at least you're making money off it. And if they win 8 or 9 games, you're not going to be upset that you lost some money because the team you love has won 8 or 9 games and might be on its way back. So either way you win. And you really can't lose. That's the beauty of emotional hedge betting.
What do you think about Clemson 10.5?
I don't know who their non-conference is, but that seems like a big number.
Yeah. Miami's at 8.5. Look at that.
And they got A&M, don't they?
I think so.
They got all those 17-year-olds. I feel like that seems like a big number too, man.
That's a large number. Yeah. All right, moving on. Yeah, I don't know any other bets that jump out. I don't even know who's running in the Preakness. I'd tell you to put some money on the Preakness for me, but I haven't even seen who's on the list, on the post or whatever, to pick out a cool name. But
not Rising Strikes or whatever that horse was that won the Derby.
Rich Strike.
Rich Strike, yeah, they pulled out.
Yeah. Enjoy Vegas though, Mark. Let us know how it is. Send photos. Let's go to Hawaii. Aloha, guys. How's it? It's Ralph, Spartan Knoll 71. I am walking now without crutches or any type of wraps or support. I still have some soft tissue damage to let heal, but I'm mobile and walking pretty regular now.
There we go, Ralph. Good job, buddy.
Corey, I hope you feel better and they can get to the bottom of what is causing your discomfort.
Well, they did, we think. It's the gallbladder, and I've got a consultation in a few weeks to determine if I'm going to get it taken out or not.
All right, let's see here. Watching the rubber match on Sunday, I saw Logan Lacey hit a ball that would have been a home run had it not been for the chain link fence that sits atop the outfield wall. Got me thinking, what is that fence for? I assume to prevent the opponent from hitting home runs, but it also stops our guys from going yard as well. Is there a regulation on the size and amount of fence a university can put up? Has the fence helped us or hindered us more over the years? I just don't get it.
So they didn't used to have that fence back in, I don't know, I don't want to guess. I know they didn't have it in the early 80s because there was a kid he's not a kid anymore, but he was then, named Jeff Ledbetter, who was a lefty, who I think hit 41 or 42 home runs in a season, and they were all line drives or fly balls over that, because the fence in right field is short. I don't know what it's measured as because they don't have their measurements on their stadium for some reason. It's probably lost somewhere in the video board information. But they don't have the measurements of how far the distances on their fences are. But I think it's about 310 feet. I don't know what it's measured at. It's short, though. It's a short porch. So to make it more fair to the pitchers, and again, remember, Florida State for years had dominant pitchers. So if you're gonna you want to make your park more pitcher friendly if you always have better pitchers than your opponents, and Florida State did. So you didn't want to give the opponents cheap home runs, but also it was more fair for the sport itself, just like in Fenway. Like, I don't know what the Green Monster is, like 308, 310 down the line to left. That's why it's 35 feet high, because Major League Baseball players can hit a pop-up down the line 314 feet, and you don't really deserve a home run for that. So that's what they did. They used to not have that chain link fence. It used to just be that one first wall, that first fence, and that's when Ledbetter and Sorrento and those guys would hit millions of home runs. And then I don't know what year they added the chain link to it, but I think it's made it more fair as a ballpark. So little pop-ups to right field, hard line drives to right field that would be doubles in other parks wouldn't sneak over and be home runs. So they're trying to make it a little more equitable that way.
320 to right field.
I don't believe it.
360 power alley right center. So
I mean, that's a small power alley, but I also don't believe those numbers.
Yeah.
It could be. It could be. I'm not. I have no way of knowing. I'm just eyeballing it, but I think it's more like 310 or 315.
The wall is 10 feet, but the right field screen is 30 feet, so you have to go 40 feet to clear that.
Yeah.
40 and an inch. So, but yeah, I think over the years it's helped Florida State, obviously, because we play here more than our opposition on the whole. Like a specific team, that is. I don't remember a lot of teams coming here and feasting off right field while Florida State constantly gets burnt by it. It's Alex Terrell, Exhibit A for right now. What it's really been good for, or has been in the past, is right-handed hitters learn, because that's the shortest part of the park. So if you want to hit a home run to the shortest part of the park, quit trying to pull everything, stay back, and hit a shot to right center field, because you got to really, like Lacey did that game, you typically got a better shot at hitting a home run to right center field, and it's made hitters, like I remember Mike McGee hit a walk-off against Miami to right center field, and he was a really good college hitter. Buster Posey obviously lived in right center field. Like, the really good hitters take advantage of it, and it makes them become great hitters because it teaches them to stay back.
Like, oh yeah, if I just stay back, I can hit a shot to right center. If I'd hit that to left center, it short hops the fence. But if I hit it the same way to right center, it get it over that screen. I don't have to hit it as well, and it's a home run. So I think it's done a good job. It had in the past done a good job of keeping right-handed hitters concentrating to hit it to right center field, like Matt Nelson. Like there's a ton of examples of right-handed guys that really use that screen or hitting it over that screen to their advantage.
All right. He also asked me to respond to an email he sent 10 days ago. I forwarded it to the proper parties, Ralph, so got to take it up with them. But I forwarded it to them. They also have email addresses. Their first name at warchant.com. So kick the tires on that, see if that might help out. He does say, I will be at Corey and Jeff's live show at the Corner Pocket for the home opener in August, assuming there will be one. A round is on me. Not needed.
Nice.
Not. We don't know.
Well, no, we're not going to take you up on that.
Yeah.
A round is on us.
Yeah, there you go. Appreciate you guys. Your friend, Ralph. Old Dad's a Nole. Wake up! Shout out Aslan for using a little Soundgarden on the intro the other day. Usually I fast forward past it. Now I will be waiting for my favorite song, possibly, Midnight Rider, to be used one day. Nice of you to represent all of your listeners.
What Soundgarden song did you use?
Blow Up the Outside World.
Oh, okay. All right.
I was talking about blowing up the NCAA. I try to have themes to the songs if I'm not just going to pick straight bangers.
Yeah, that's probably the best in the biz.
Yeah, Old Dad, that's the best part of the show, maybe, as the intro music. Don't skip past it. I would like for you guys to comment on the Vegas win totals that are out. All right. They have us 2 full games jumping to 7.5. So the over-under was 5.5 last year. I don't see Clemson going over 10.5. I thought Louisville at 5.5 with a solid quarterback returning is low. Any you guys like or think may be off? Go Lady Noles, Old Dad. Yeah, I'm trying to look at this list. Like Pittsburgh at 9.5. I don't even know their schedule. Take the under. There's no way Pittsburgh's
I agree with that
games.
too. That's
incredible.
That's a weird number. And I think Louisville 5.5 is a weird number. Like, they do have a good quarterback. If he stays healthy, that's a 6-win team, right?
I would think so. I'm trying to look at, like, Notre Dame 9.5. First full season, new coach. I could see just maybe 9 wins. LSU's at 7.5. Look at that.
Same number as the Noles.
Yeah, crazy. Virginia Tech 5.5. That looks a little bit light. But, new coach. I'm looking at this. There's nothing. Pittsburgh's the only thing that I looked at that made me just be like, are you kidding me? Absolutely not. But everybody else seems like a pretty fair number. Maybe Louisville 5.5. That seems a little bit low. Well,
Pittsburgh lost their 2 best players.
Yeah. Mike Elko, Duke 3.5. Could they squeeze out 4?
Yeah, I don't want to. That's too much. I don't want to bet on the low numbers. But yeah, I think Pitt is that to me seems a crazy number. And Miami 8.5 is close. I'm close to taking the under there.
Take the Mark, if you're still listening, Mark. Take the over on Arizona for us. 2.5. And Jetfish will squeeze out 3 wins. I think they got close. I think
2.5. Don't they have to play like Northern Arizona or somebody in the first game? It seems like they got to have 2 gimmies, right?
You would think so. But let's see here. They got San Diego State, Mississippi State, North Dakota State. So they could lose all those.
Yeah. None of those are gimmies.
Yeah. Cal, Colorado. Yeah, then you got your entire.
Yeah, all right. Well, that's going to be a tough one. Good number, Vegas. Hey, you guys keep doing it. You're doing good things out there.
All right, moving along. XDQ004. Derek, wake up. Good morning. As I look out from my hotel room with a view of the Superdome, I'm having visions of the war chant blaring. Jameis Winston, P.J. Williams, Noles, who are with the Saints, on the sideline. And on the opening play of the game, Jordan Travis hands off to Trey Benson up the middle for a 75-yard touchdown on the way to a victory over LSU. Though I am all for starting the year with cupcakes and starting 3-0, is that really the Nole way? This may not be dynasty years, but I feel like that butt-whipping we took in Norman in 2010 helped us win in 2013. Not to mention all of those years we played Miami when we really didn't have to. I feel like once we get a couple of great recruiting classes, we will be looking forward to those games against Alabama and Georgia in the future. Here's looking forward to the climb. Question. If we were able to create a television agreement schedule that creates the football version of the ACC Big Ten Challenge, Pac-12, Big 12 Challenge, Who would you choose in each conference to be our first opponent? Also, make note of my games being home or away designations. That makes the difference. Here are mine. So Derek would want to pick one team from the Big Ten. But he's actually given us multiple teams. So Big Ten, he would either want Ohio State in the Shoe or Penn State in Happy Valley. If we had Michigan, he'd want them in Doak, which is fair. Come back. It's been 20,
that's right. Return trip. It's been 30 years.
Yeah. Big 12, Texas. Pac-12. Well, we need to be quick on the Texas one before they leave, right?
Yeah.
Pac-12, he'd want Southern Cal to come to Tallahassee. He'd be cool with going to Salt Lake City or Eugene to take on Utah or Oregon. What say you? Support the sponsors that support Warchant and go Noles.
So he's doing this under the guise that Florida State is really good again. Right?
Well, not even that. I mean, he's like, listen, I want 3 cupcakes, but that's not the Nole way. So we can live in the reality of where we are right now. Yeah, I mean, we want good games.
Then the answer is like Arizona, apparently.
Well, no, we want good games. I mean,
no.
Okay, you don't.
You need to win. You need to stack up W's and get some better players in here, and then you can start scheduling Ohio State and Penn State and Happy Valley. There's just no point in it right now. You've got to build yourself up to be a 9 or 10 win team, and then you can start playing these type of non-conference games, in my opinion, because we've been doing this now for 7 or 8 years, and it has not worked. Playing these big marquee games has not worked for anything other than you lose. So get to a point where you can win a couple of these and then schedule Ohio State and Michigan. I will say this though, my answer is Northwestern and Arizona. But I will say this, like when they do get good and the alliance happens and they do have these non-conference games, it would be awesome to go to Ohio State again. It's been, I think 81, 82 maybe was the last time they went to 83 was the last time they went to Ohio State. They've been to Michigan twice, and the last one was 91. Ohio State and Michigan have never been to Tallahassee, so I feel like they owe a trip to Tallahassee. And then I'd like to go to Washington. I think that'd be a cool place to watch a game.
All right. Thank you for playing along with the question.
Yeah, I did it.
Come on,
I did it. Yeah, I get it. I got it. I did. I answered both. I answered the pragmatic way and the hypothetical way.
I would love to go to Penn State whiteout and just drub them. That'd be great. Would we wear our traditional home jerseys for that game since it's a whiteout? I mean, they probably wouldn't want us to wear white tops, gold pants.
Yeah, probably. That'd be cool. That'd look good. Yeah.
I'd love to do that. I'd like Ohio State. If I was younger, I'd love Ohio State to come to Tallahassee because there'd be a fight. I would love to. I hate Ohio. I mean, I'm telling you, as much as I dislike Florida fans, Ohio State fans are worse. They really are. But I'll defend and hold the flag that Florida's worse, but they're not. Ohio State fans are the worst. Big 12, I'm not going to pick Texas or Oklahoma because they're going to be gone. So I don't know. TCU, I guess. That'd be kind of cool to go hang out in the Dallas area, apparently, maybe.
Oh, all right.
I don't know if there's anybody to really want to. Maybe Mike Gundy could come here and see what it would have felt like if he would have been the head coach, if he would have taken the job.
Yeah.
Pac-12, yeah, man. I don't know. I'd like to go to L.A. I'll go to Southern Cal. And then bring Oregon here so we can thump Oregon. Their fans are pretty obnoxious on Twitter. It was one game, one time, and they really give it to Florida State Twitter whenever they get a shot. So I'd like to maybe even those odds. So
all right, yeah, all good answers.
Random_John, which by the way, I skipped his question last week. I apologize. He said that he used to play in a band. And they would play occasionally at Big Daddy's, which was Aslan and his friend's go-to spot on Friday nights. Ooh. So maybe you gigged there one. I don't know if you gigged on a Friday night, but that's where we used to hang out at. We used to hang out there. Good morning, Aslan and Corey. Hope this message finds you better than the window of my car. Ooh, that was smashed in by a ne'er-do-well in New Orleans. That night they got my car and 8 others next to mine. No one had anything stolen, so silver linings. Man, I've heard things are not all that great in New Orleans right now. That hurts to hear that, man. I'm sorry, man.
Got to valet it. Then you can blame the hotel.
Yeah. Figure out that town is just too cool to have, to be worried about stuff like that happening. But, hey, that's another podcast topic, another show. As my question was skipped over this past week, just another bullet point in the long line of mishaps on my vacation. Let me attempt it again and ask one very short new question. All right, so the new question. Let's go to the old question first. All right, what would be a logical explanation for the ACC to choose any team other than Georgia Tech as the third permanent opponent? Using television markets does not make any sense because then we would not play Clemson every year, as I'm certain South Carolina doesn't have that many televisions as Pennsylvania, New York, or Atlanta. So seriously, come up with a sound, logical reason that playing Georgia Tech as the third permanent team would be a catastrophe for the ACC. I mean, playing Georgia Tech must be a catastrophe in the ACC's eyes if they would not even consider them an option. Well, I don't. They're not saying that it's not an option, right, Corey? Just it's not an option, and that no one said it's not going to happen.
Yeah, it was just Alford didn't seem as bullish on the Georgia Tech name as he did Miami and Clemson. Like those seemed like foregone conclusions, and Georgia Tech did not when Ira talked to him out at Amelia Island. And I the only thing I can think of is because it's not like Florida State, Georgia Tech is going to do a lot worse than Florida State, Virginia, or Florida State, BC. Maybe they just don't want to be a northern part of the conference and a southern part of the conference where all the southern teams play each other and all the northern teams play each other. They want to make it a little more not as regionalized and more coast to coast, or is that coast to coast to go from Syracuse to Miami? I wanted to say tip to tip, but I don't like the way that sounds. But the the northern part of the country to the southern part of the country. But I don't think they want all the southern teams. Maybe they don't want all the southern teams grouped together, like the four North Carolina schools are grouped together. Florida State, Clemson, and Georgia Tech are all grouped together, or in Miami. They don't want that, so maybe they want to spread one out where each one of your three permanent opponents is from a different part of the country, and they're not all so regionalized. That's my only thought, and I hope they don't think like that. I hope they just make it Georgia Tech.
Apparently, they just don't like Florida State. They don't want us to have everything that we want. Maybe there's no other team that could have it their way as nicely as Florida State could have it, so we have to suffer for it. Right?
Well, it could be. Yeah.
The Carolina teams can't make it all work out because there's more than three of them. So, like, North Carolina could have NC State, Duke. Oh, no, they would be
and
fine.
Wake.
Yeah,
it worked. Yeah, it works
out for them. Yeah. That should be able to trigger the grant of rights. If somehow North Carolina and North Carolina State get everybody in state as their permanent, and then Florida State's got to have Syracuse as theirs, I would go picket at the Capitol with all you folks that think everybody's against us.
There you go.
But Corey's answer is the more logical one, probably. All right, the new query. At this point, is there an offensive lineman in the portal actually looking at FSU, or are we stuck with our status quo? How does that impact your over-under on wins this year? I don't think there's anybody out there that we know of that would affect my thoughts on. I mean, this team is who they are. I mean, we saw it in the spring. That's who they're going to go to battle with, and I'm fine with it by and large.
What about the kid from Charlotte?
Yeah, but again, he's
a depth piece, right? Like he's not somebody. He's not a Marius Mims.
He's not a plug and play, right? It's not like he's got a position.
I mean, he was good there, and he might play for you. He might even start for you, but he's not a guy that like absolutely. If he's got to sign. Like the dude from Marshall. Like, you got to get this guy. You just got to. Kane Madden. He's not one of those guys. So I don't know that there's anybody out there. But again, Dylan Gibbons came, what'd you say, Aslan? He came May 10th?
Yeah.
So there's still some time with a grad transfer that can that maybe plops up on your radar that's not there right now. But, yes, by and large, you're probably looking at maybe one more lineman, and it's somebody of that ilk.
I mean, I saw that there was a all-conference FCS linebacker from James Madison that apparently Auburn offered him, Ole Miss offered him. I think he tweeted out that Florida State offered him, but I think Langston had said that that's not true at this point. But maybe there's one of those guys out there. Maybe there is some sort of FCS All-American left tackle that you could bring in. But, I mean, I don't know how – I'd feel good about it. Like, all right, it's that would help, but I just don't know. I think right now they got left tackle Robert Scott. Is an FCS All-American better than Bless Harris? Maybe. But they didn't have spring, so maybe that offsets things, at least for the first half of the season. And then Caden Lyles, Maurice Smith. Dylan Gibbons got one of your guard spots locked down. And then if Darius Washington's healthy, he's your other guard. So I don't really know. Again, I don't think an FCS All-American would be like, all right, well, I feel real good. Put me at 8. Put me on the over. I will take the over. Like if I'm 51-49 on them hitting the over, it's not budging because of a FCS edition at tackle.
There you go.
I did want to look up. I want to say that Dylan Gibbons actually graded out better than Kane Madden last year. But I don't
won that battle, didn't we?
Yeah. Maybe not. He'd grade out at 80. Really good run blocker. Maybe not as good a pass blocker, but anyhow, whatever. Random John says, however, what is not catastrophic is potentially winning $750 at Corner Pocket on bingo night. Take those winnings, buy yourself something nice at Zaxby's, get the Warchant bundle from DeLuna. Lastly, use whatever funds are left to subscribe to Warchant and send messages with donations and tips to the entire crew and let them know how great of a job they are doing because, well, they are. Go Noles. Thanks, John. Appreciate you, man.
Well said.
Two more. JT Knowles, 2K2. Hey, Aslan and Corey. Wake up. Hope y'all are doing awesome and that Corey's stomach issues are gone. Nope.
Well, they've been diagnosed, which is a great step.
When is the next? When's the next thing? You don't have to tell us exactly what it is, but like, is it happening this week or you have to wait?
No, it's middle of June is when I could get in to see the surgeon, and he's gonna consult and tell me what he thinks I need to do about my gallbladder. But it might be coming out.
All right, maybe we can do like a Warchant embedded, where I'll just follow you in the hospital the whole time or something, to show
or you
people
could film the surgery.
Yeah, we'll do that.
And then we could auction off the gallbladder.
The stones in the gallbladder.
Yeah, each stone. Yeah, that's right.
I just want to start off by mentioning that it seems that the people at Howser may have listened to Corey, as when I was at Saturday's game, I saw the scoreboard now tell what a hitter was doing in the game. It's a start, but still I laughed.
Oh, really? Okay. All right. Nobody else told me that. That's good to know. Hopefully that keeps up.
I think they do it sometimes. It'll in the seventh inning, Logan Lacey will be the bat, and it'll be like he's been 1 for 3 on the day.
Well, I've never seen that. I thought it's just Logan Lacey standing there with a bat over his shoulder.
My question for the week is this. Rank your 3 favorite non-championship seasons. I would say my 3, this is JT Knowles 2K2. I saw this question. I don't even know how I'm going to answer it, but I'm going to stall so that Corey can give us a good answer. My 3 would be 2008, because that's when I got my first memories of the sport, and that was a really good defense. Second, 2014, because of the roller coaster ride that the team was. How many games did we not have to come back in? It seems like we trailed in every game, and Jameis helped guide us to a victory. Also, I'd argue the team was as talented, if not more than 13, simply due to the existence of Dalvin Cook. My favorite, 2010. I would probably put 2010 somewhere on there too. It was a season filled with so many incredible moments. Blowing out Florida and Miami, Hopkins' game winner, winning the Atlantic, beating Steve Spurrier one last time. I've only got a small sample size in my life so far, so I'm interested in hearing what you guys think. I would have included last year if we'd beaten Florida or won another game, since that was a team I got invested to heavily. Like the 2010 team, they had a lot of memorable moments in the second half of their year. 4th and 14, tiptoe Feely, dominating North Carolina despite being a massive underdog. Ryan Fitzgerald, walk-off against Cuse, and I think there's some more I could be missing. So in my opinion, 2021 is an honorable mention. Thank you for answering my question. Support the sponsors and the players with merchandise or YouTube accounts. And lastly, go Noles. What do you think, Corey? 3 favorite non-championship winning seasons.
See, I think this has to do with
your age.
Age, yeah. My by far is 87. The first year of the dynasty, beating Auburn 34-6, finally beating Florida, that crazy game in the Fiesta Bowl, beating Nebraska. So I would say that one, and then maybe
2000.
No. By that time, you're used to it, and if you don't win a championship, but 80s, the early 80s, it was still cool to win games, even if you didn't win a championship. And then I was going to say maybe 89. Because they started off with those 2 losses, one to Brett Favre, and then they win 10 in a row and beat Miami, who ends up winning the national championship. And I was 13. So that was an awesome time for that season. To start out 0-2, to feel like the whole season's going to be a disappointment, and then you rip off 10 in a row, and then blow out Nebraska in the Fiesta Bowl. That was a really cool season.
I would say 2000. Again, the Winky to Snoop play against Clemson, play action out of the end zone is just an all-time favorite play. I love that. It was the first time I ever came to Tallahassee was 2000 for the Florida game. And that's when the Bush-Gore recount was going on. So, like,
This
whole town just had a completely crazy vibe. I remember it was cold that weekend. I was at UCF at the time, and I lived in Tampa my whole life. So, I mean, we rarely got any sort of winter. And I remember just coming up here. It just felt magical. So it was my first time in Tallahassee, that game. I remember driving down Pensacola during the game, and, like, you could see inside the stadium. I'm like, oh, I want to be in there so bad. Like, we went on a beer run or something. So I'll always remember that moment in 2000. It obviously didn't end the way we wanted it to, so that's kind of a tough one. 2002, because that was my first year at Tallahassee as a student, beating, Lorenzo Booker commitment happened in 2002. That was awesome.
Oh, yeah, right.
Stopping Seneca Wallace at the goal line of the Pigskin Classic in Arrowhead Stadium.
Yep.
Big-time moment.
Right.
Just the whole Chris Ricks, Adrian McPherson soap opera was kind of cool for a 19-year-old kid to follow along with. And we beat Florida at home. That was a really nice send-off. We went to New Orleans for the Sugar Bowl. That was my first time in New Orleans. So 2002 had good vibes. And then I'd throw 2010 in there, just, Jimbo making me fall in love with him, just, smashing Miami, smashing Florida.
And doing it with integrity.
Yeah.
Not despicable.
Not at all.
He's not lying or cheating.
No.
He's getting 17-year-olds, and he's crushing the opposition.
I lied. Oh, we got two more. And Dave from Kentucky snuck in. Buckle up, everybody. Island Chief first, though. Wake up! Saban calling out Jimbo, Dion, and Miami in the same speaking engagement is delightful. Or is he just trolling us? He spoke of the good old days when everyone was equal. For the life of me, I have
Remember
no
those
idea.
days?
I have no idea what era he's referring to. Do you guys? When do we get to talk about football again? All of this talk about money is like hanging out with a crypto bro. Should we run more spread? Well said, Island Chief. Should we run more spread? Should we have more double tight end sets? How do we get the better matchups? It's only May. This summer is going to be hot.
It is. It's a doozy already. I went on a walk yesterday, and that almost took all the wind out of me. Is what it did. I don't see a lot of. I don't know. It's a good question. With the two tight ends versus the spread, I don't know that they want to be a spread team, because I do think they think their strength is in the run, but they can run out of the spread with just one back. They proved that plenty. So I don't know. It's a good question. We'll let you know in August when we see them. When we see them lining up more. 3
verticals and then 1 intermediate route over the middle, just to maybe not let them
every
spy
play
on us. Yeah.
Like Madden.
Yeah.
You just have the same play over and over again.
All right, Jordan, he's not there. Run. All right.
Yeah.
Now they're going to start spying on you. Throw it to the guy in the middle. I am here. I kind of am curious to see what's going to happen. I know Tom's kind of talked about it, maybe more on JCS, just about how multiple and the evolution of Mike Norvell's offenses have been over the course of his career. He's got to have a really good feel for his personnel. I know he's got new wide receivers, but he knows what he wants his receivers to do. He went and specifically picked these guys that are all pretty much ready-made to play college football. Let's start scheming some stuff up. We're going to be calling the plays on game days. I am kind of curious to see if there's going to be a little bit more improvement on the offensive side of the ball, just because of his familiarity and maybe the resignation to a certain degree. I don't mean to make that like a backhanded compliment, but listen, I don't know if he wanted Jordan Travis to be a starting quarterback when he got here. I don't know if he planned on Jordan Travis being a starting quarterback even during the course of 2020. He went and got Mackenzie Milton, but now that's your quarterback. You've seen him practice. I don't know how many hours. You know what he can do well and what he can't do. Figure it out, man. So, yeah, three deep, 1 intermediate, and then just run, Travis. Just keep running, Jordan. All right, last one. Bourbon is your friend. 3 graphs. Let me get a sip of water so I can get through all this.
There you go.
There's been a lot of hand-wringing about how we will police and enforce NIL, inducements, or just college football in general. And who will do the policing and enforcing? The NCAA, an independent commission? This is definitely one of those screaming at the radio moments because the answer is so obvious. How much would you pay to see Nick Saban sitting in a van with Joey Greco from the show Cheaters discussing disturbing footage they have of a defensive tackle just talking with a coordinator at another school? maybe grainy footage of a player and a coach in a car, and suddenly you see an envelope plop on the dashboard. Greco tells Saban it just so happens the defensive tackle and the coordinator are at a bar right now in Birmingham. Are you sure you're ready to confront the player? Either that or maybe Judge Mathis. I just don't trust Marilyn Millian with something that important. The penalty, of course, for players and coaches is to have to each play or coach for Everest University. Okay, that's the thought.
Okay, all right, okay.
Aslan, any way you could set up this next question in the voice of Jigsaw from the Saw horror movies? Never seen the movies, so I can't indulge you. I'm sorry.
I haven't either. Didn't really interest me.
Yeah.
I assume they have a lot of death in them.
Yeah. Maybe I'll
seem
do
that
it.
way. It's not like a romantic comedy, is it?
Corey, would you like to play a game? I can't. My Orgeron's been lacking too. All right, Corey, would you like to play a game? Back to your regular voice. That was creepy. He puts in parentheses. All right, I'll name 2 players, and you tell me if I'm way off in my comparison, and if so, what the current FSU player needs to become the comparison player. If that makes
I got
sense.
it. Okay. I think.
Jamie Robinson is to Derwin James.
No. And Jamie Robinson is a very good player. Derwin is one of maybe the five best athletes that's ever played at Florida State. Maybe one of the 3. I mean, he is just a freak physically. He is a guy that hits he hits like Jamie Robinson. I mean, he hits like a truck, and he also runs like a corner. And is big and rangy. Like, he's just if he could stay healthy, he's like an NFL Defensive Player of the Year candidate if he can stay healthy. That's how good he is. So there's nothing Jamie Robinson can do,
but
because he just doesn't have the skill. He doesn't have the toolbox that Derwin James had. There are not a lot of Derwin Jameses walking around on this planet.
I don't know. Could Jamie be a first-round pick? Is just too undersized?
I don't know that he's. I mean, to play safety, number one, you've got to think about this. That kid from Notre Dame, and he was was he middle of the first round?
Yeah,
he was like the best player I saw. Like they don't like to draft safeties in the first round. It doesn't appear. And if you are going to be a first rounder or even a 1 through 3 rounder, you've got to be really, really athletic. And as good as I think Jamie Robinson is, he's not like a next level athlete. He's just a very good football player.
He could be more productive than Derwin was, though. So there is that. All right. Next comparison.
Yeah, stay healthy. Yeah. There you go.
Jordan Travis, Russell Wilson.
Now, Russell Wilson, we know it now, but it was pretty obvious even when he was at NC State. He's a gifted passer. He sees it. Very good. He's very accurate. He's a natural thrower of the football, and the comparison isn't terrible because they do have some similar traits as far as mobility, and I think Jordan Travis is a better runner than Russell Wilson ever was. But Wilson, I don't. He would have to take a huge leap. Like you're just looking now for I know they're different body types, but you're looking for him to be like E.J. Manuel as a passer. Can he get there? Can he get to that level of quarterback? And that's a big if. I mean, EJ was a good college quarterback. He was drafted too high. He's a first-round pick. He was overdrafted, but still, he was an NFL quarterback. I don't know that Jordan Travis is that or can ever be that. We're hoping. We'll know, though. We'll know by the middle of this year, right? By October, we'll know, does Jordan Travis have a future in professional football? I truly believe that. I believe by the middle of October, we will know one way or the other if this kid has taken that next leap and he's going to be more than just a solid college quarterback or even a good college quarterback. He has a chance to be a pro quarterback. We'll know 6 games into this season.
Man, I was trying to. I mean, I'm not the Jordan Travis CEO, fan club CEO, but I'm like, let me pull up his stats and try to massage some numbers. Just
no.
Yeah, man, it's. I mean, that Miami game, 18 of 26 for 274. That's
BC game, he was good too.
Yeah, 20 of 34 for 251, 3 scores, 3 touchdowns.
And then the Florida game?
18 of 29 for 202, 2 touchdowns total, pick.
Ran for 100, didn't he?
102, yeah.
Yeah, but he's got some stuff to him. Those last 3 games, if you just want to concentrate on Jordan Travis and his ability and what he can become or what he even is, those last 3 games give you a lot of hope. I mean, he averaged over like 240 yards per game passing, somewhere in there, 8 or 9 touchdowns total. Like, he was a good player. He was the only reason they were in the game against Florida. So he's had some moments, and he's shown he can do it. But, man, Russell Wilson was an excellent, excellent college quarterback, and I don't know that Jordan can get there.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. Continuing on, we got a couple more, he says. Trey Benson,
All right,
no
here we
Sean
go.
Moreno.
Oh, all right. No Sean. That's a name I hadn't thought of in a minute. No Sean was, to me, looks like a much more violent runner. Even though I think he's probably smaller than Benson is. He was smaller than Benson is. Benson certainly got more speed than Noshawn ever had. But, there's more to being a running back than speed. There's vision and violence. And Noshawn was a different dude, man. When you watched him, he was one of my all-time favorite Georgia football players because he just ran angry. I mean, he just ran angry. You were not going to tackle him. It took 2 or 3 guys to always bring him down. I hope Trey Benson can be like that. But, the body size and then – there's just no way to know. Trey Benson has had 15 carries in his career, 12 carries or whatever it is. So that would be, he'd have to display some toughness and some violence that not many running backs have.
He's also got to figure out a way to cry during the national anthem. Have those real ripe tear ducts.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Good old Noshawn.
Noshawn, according to Pro Football Reference, was listed at 5'10", 215 pounds. Trey Benson, 6'1", 215.
Yeah, so, I guess that's only 3 inches, right? But you didn't look at Noshawn and think, man, that's a big back.
Right.
I mean, he was, apparently, or maybe he was in the NFL. I don't know what he was at Georgia. I would assume he was just closer to 200. But, man, he was so hard to tackle. He had more, honestly, it was more like a Trayshawn. Like the cutting, the violence, not undersized, but not a huge guy that ran hard and was really hard to tackle one-on-one.
All right, 2 more he's got. Omar Graham Jr. Mark my words, he's going to be a dog. Omar Graham Jr., Nigel Bradham.
Aslan, you want to take one of these? You want to give one a run?
He's going to have to stay in. He's going to have to keep lifting. He's going to have to really be focused in the weight room. I mean, Nigel Bradham was a specimen. I mean, maybe didn't have the NFL career that Derwin could have had if he would have been able to stay healthy. Derwin, we'll see how it goes. But Nigel had a good run. I mean, Nigel just prototype. Derwin James is a prototypical defensive back in the 21st century. Nigel Bradham was a physical prototype linebacker. Maybe not in a spread era, but just a human, just a grown man. Omar Graham Jr. is a true freshman. It's really hard to see that kind of development happen. It's not impossible, but I don't know, man. Nigel was he was a blue chip guy. Omar Graham,
I guess we can't compare their body type because nobody had a body like Nigel Bradham. I mean, when he was a 17-year-old, one of these guys, he's a guy that looked like he was just cut out of granite. I mean, it was just nuts. I interviewed him when he was a high school senior. It was nuts. He was just, I think he was a weightlifting champ too, but it was impossible what he looked like as a 17-year-old kid. And Graham is not that. But maybe he's more instinctual than Nigel. He certainly showed some instincts for his first spring. I mean, he found a way. There were a couple of days where he was around the football a lot, which is a good sign for a linebacker. There's some instincts there. But he's never going to be as fast as Nigel Bradham, and he's never going to be put together like Nigel Bradham because nobody is. But maybe he can end up being a similar type production-wise player. But that's impossible to know. But he's got to get bigger and stronger and faster to have any sort of chance.
Sam McCall or Azarie Thomas, Xavier Rhodes.
Ooh, that's a good one. I thought he'd go Jalen. I really did. I mean, why not? That's not a bad I could see, man, Xavier Rhodes was he was fast, obviously. He was lanky, he was long, he was physical. I think AZ has a chance to be that guy. I think AZ has a chance to be as good as any of these guys if he reaches his ceiling. He's got a lot of stuff in him, man. He's competitive. He's rangy. He's fast. He high points the ball. He's just got a competitive spirit about him, man. that I love. I love that stuff. And, who knows how he's going to develop. But with that size, speed, range, and competitiveness, it's just a perfect combination you would hope for a cornerback. And he might be that guy. I'd put him on offense, too.
Yeah, somebody comment on YouTube about that. Like, how come he doesn't play receiver?
Yeah, I'd put him on offense, too.
I would say like a Zaire Derwin and then Sam McCall, Xavier Rhodes. I would have edited the question if I was the editor of Dave's question, but I'm not.
Okay, all right.
I would like to express an unpopular opinion as we exit. I am a Jimbo Fisher fan. The guy built us back to prominence, was a huge reason we won our most recent national championship, is a great recruiter and a good, albeit frustrating, head football coach. The two knocks against him, from the little I do know, is that he rubbed boosters and administration the wrong way, and he slacked on recruiting while he was going through a marriage crisis. He constantly asked for money for facilities, but isn't that something we all agree now was actually justified? Texas A&M was willing to pay the money for the coaches and the facilities, and now he's there. I can't blame him. Well said. Well said, Dave.
Yeah, he all that, every single bit of that was true. Yep.
All right, we're done. We made it to the end of the mailbag. Thank you, everybody, for being involved in it. Thank you for all your questions. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget, regional play starts tonight at 8:30 for Florida State and Lonnie Alameda and the Noles. They're taking on Howard. That's on ESPN+. Winner of that gets the winner of Mississippi State and who's the other team in here? We got
South Florida.
South Florida. Thank you, Corey. Appreciate it. They got a really good pitcher, so we'll see how that works out. They're 6 o'clock. They're on ESPNU, so go figure. But anyhow, we'll wrap up the entire weekend for you on Monday's program, so do join us for that. He's Corey. I'm Aslan. Thank you for listening to Wake Up Warchant, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.